All right, we're live.
We Gotta Believe episode 130, episode 11. Double ones. We got ourselves a new manager, and he has fucking double ones across the chest. We got Bug Showalter here. What a fucking journey it's been, boys. What is this, like our
2021 has been really the entire journey of We Gotta Believe so far has been like the most tumultuous. The Mets have been the most tumultuous team in baseball, like no doubt, since we started this podcast with the ownership and the changes and the failures and the collapse. I mean, what a ride! But we're on the uptick, baby. We're on the upside of the good things here. This is either like the beginning of the truly the new chapter, or just we're going that much higher to set up for the fall.
Yep. Actually, you know what? I'm going to throw on the shades right now. We're going Epler mode because he got the hire done. We got Bucky in the fucking house, and so I think
you're doing double shades.
I have shades underneath. I just went to the eye doctor, so I'm still coming out of that like post eye drop haze where I couldn't see anything, and I had like font 96 on my computer.
That's one thing I don't know anything about that world, Mr. 2020 over here. I've never had the burst of air in your eye. I've never done the drops. I've never done do you see this thing? I'm just fucking chilling over here. So all your eye doctor humor right over my perfect 2020 vision head.
And I will tell you this, Kev, if you go to the eye, I went to the eye doctor because my mom was like, the insurance coverage, just go for an eye checkup. And they were like, yo, there's some shit going on here I've never seen in my life. I have like fucking like blisters in like the back of my, and they're like, oh no, it's fine. You're not going to go blind.
Yeah, there's no doubt in my mind. If I have to go to the dentist, I haven't gone to the dentist in like 15 years, legitimately. And it's starting to hurt. So I know there's going to be some things in my teeth that they're going to be like, when was the last time you did this? And I'm going to be like, I don't know, the fucking like Clinton administration. But same thing with my eyes. Like my vision is okay, but I guarantee that I have like cancer in my eyeballs right now. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
I have LASIK, and they were like, there's scratches in your cornea, so when we lift it up, if the holes are too big, we're just going to put them back down, and you're just going to have shitty vision the rest of your life. What?
Okie dokie.
By the way, Mr. Glass himself, Kev, I guarantee your vision sucks. It's not 2020, but you just haven't got it checked since you were probably in like third grade when you go to the little like machine and you say the letters. So
you know what? It makes no sense. I might not be 2020, but I can read everything. So
yeah,
fuck
that's all that matters. But we're dads. We're gonna get old. These are basically just reading glasses. I wear them actually during the podcast so you can't see the giant bags under my eyes. It kind of hides like
that's actually slick. I just learned that trick. I might start doing that. I don't need glasses, but I might start wearing them just to hide the bags. By the way, this is officially the most washed up intro to a baseball podcast ever.
Exactly.
Let's get back to let's get back to Buck.
I was gonna say this is basically just us as Mets fans, though. Like we've been falling apart for years. It's been getting worse and worse and worse. And you know what the Mets did? They fucking brought in a professional. They brought in a doctor. They brought in a baseball doctor. Buck Showalter, whatever you thought about Espada and what was the other guy?
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what his name was. We got a fucking adult in the clubhouse. It's not his first time managing. I know first time managers can be like, they can win World Series. They can do whatever the fuck it wants. But with this team, this franchise, which like as recently as like 3 months ago, was going through the same fucking LOL Met shit as they always have. We got a fucking GM with fucking shades who doesn't give a fuck and will sign Max Scherzer. I heard the fucking the feedback from all you fucking jerks.
Glenn's out here like Max Scherzer. Max Scherzer.
I've been calling him Scherzer my whole life.
Your whole life. It's now so funny. I didn't let it slide. Don't you change. I want to hear Scherzer for the rest of the time. I don't care.
I can't even like fire back at the people that are especially even the ones that are being mean to me about it, because they're listeners and like you guys are nice enough to listen to the podcast.
And also you are 100% definitively wrong. So
yes, yeah. Like Mario, like you could kind of like skate away with that if you try to do things. Scherzer is just completely wrong. Max would probably punch me in the face if I said it in front of him. But we got ourselves an adult, boys. We just had the press conference. We waited a few days after the announcement to see what kind of stuff came out of the press conference. And basically, Kyle said it best. The one big takeaway was under Billy Martin, where he came up, they always expected to win. And he said, we're not here to compete, which was always the fucking line we got from the 17 managers we had under the Wilpons. He's like, you want to be the last team standing. And that is the goal of Uncle Stevie, preferably within 4 years, to be the last team standing. We have a fucking adult in the clubhouse, baseball experience. And at the worst, even if Buck Showalter comes in and he fails or he doesn't take us to the World Series, I'm going to convince myself, as it's done twice in the past, we fire him, and the next year we're winning the World Series. Win-win, no matter what.
That's the thing. Anybody who's like, Buck can't win the big one, like, fuck you. Because, like, he I guess you could say that those teams won the World Series because they made those moves, but that's not true. If that Yankees core stuck with him another year, he is the Yankees dynasty manager, not Joe Torre.
And also, the Orioles for those 3 years, they were a great team, and they kept getting bounced in the wild card. And then they gave Chris Davis the biggest fucking contract in the world. That would be a Mets contract. And they let Manny Machado walk. Like,
what do you want him to do? And here's the thing. You know what translates always is just awesome. Awesome always plays. And Buck Showalter is fucking awesome. He is a cool dude. He's a baseball guy. He's a lifer. He's a gamer. He's a hardcore MLB dude who's fucking awesome. And we can talk about analytics and new school versus old school and your eye test versus the numbers. And all that's true. And actually, that's what I like about Buck is that he seems like he's old school but has embraced the new school enough. But at the end of the day, certain things always translate. Like if you have a analytics always manager that then has to deal with like let's say Cohen becomes like a Steinbrenner, right? Let's say Cohen does go off at the rails and he's Mad King. A geeky analytics manager, he's not going to know how to handle that. Buck Showalter, his skills translate to everything. If he did it with Billy Martin and he did it with Steinbrenner and he's done it with big, small, expensive, cheap, big name, small name, like what he provides will always be of value. And so like I have full confidence that what he brings will make the team better. If we went with some new age manager who's more nuanced in the ways of modern baseball, it could totally pay off, but I think it could totally blow up as well. I don't think Buck Showalter can totally blow up. I don't think it's something where it's not going to work. Will it like radically change everything and we win the World Series right away? Who knows? But I don't think they're going to walk away from this being like Buck Showalter couldn't figure it out, because he's got the experience and always figures it out to an extent where you have a competitive ball club that he can at least bring to the fucking precipice of a World Series. So I think that like I think that certain things, it's almost like if you've worked under Billy Martin and you worked under Steinbrenner and you've been a part of that type of thing, it's like working for Barstool. And it's like, if we went somewhere else, we might need to learn a couple things about how to like work for a new company. And some of our experience might not translate, and we might have like a rocky road in the beginning, but we're going to fucking bring you page views. We're going to bring you fucking traction. We're going to bring you clicks. You know what I mean? Like what we bring still is the tangible currency of the fucking name of the game. So like, I personally, I'm telling you right now, I would be ready for things to be rocky in the beginning. I don't think like him and Lindor, I don't know if they get off to a perfect start after kind of knowing what we know about Lindor and reacting to New York City and stuff. I could see a guy coming in being like, it's me and Max Scherzer and we run the fucking show now and here's how it's going to be. I could see some people being like, fuck that. No way. And maybe year one is kind of rocky, but I think it's in the long run going to be a good thing, because what he brings to the table is kind of undeniable. And the one concern I did have was about like, do we hire an old name instead of a new age? Let's find the next big thing. But I knocked the Tony La Russa hiring, thinking like, why would you have such a young team and you bring in this old out of touch guy? And A, that works completely pretty much. And B, I still think Buck is not as out of touch as Tony La Russa is. I think Buck is actually way more in touch with the new age game. So I don't think it's as big of a gap as there was in that case, but it worked anyway. So I'm all about it. And if it's what the big man wanted and what Max Scherzer wanted, and I think everybody else kind of falls into place, and maybe some quicker than others. Like I said, a guy like Lindor might take a little while to buy in, but I think eventually we all start rowing in the same direction with a guy like Buck.
Yeah, I'm happy you brought up La Russa too, because I think like, there was like the old school and it's like, oh my God, that guy's ancient. There's also like all the DWI shit, which was again part of our old fucking problem here, where it's you have Zach Scott, and then you have Jared Porter, who's a creep, and then you have Mickey Callaway, who's a creep. And it's like, Buck, the one thing I've heard through all this is that dude is a fucking good person. And how many times we said
no
that with
chance. Buck doesn't do anything but baseball. He's not fucking chicks. He's not sexting. He's not sending his dick around. He just wants to watch and play and manage baseball. That's it.
His
That's
name
the benefit
is
to having the older manager too. He's too fucking tired. He's like, I'm going to the ball.
I'm going to bed.
When I see him, he's just trying to get away from the wife for a couple hours, and then he'll come back home and go to bed.
His name is Buck, and like
Yes.
that name plays in like 3 industries. It's like the tire industry, like mechanics, right?
Buck
And
Showalter, and you
baseball.
can it's like the tire industry, a butcher. Like, hi, Buck, I'm here for a couple steaks, and the baseball world. So we got one of them.
If our new YouTube guy was named Buck, I'd be like, well, we're fucked. Like, we're not getting any traffic with a Buck.
That's exactly. I said it in a much more long-winded way, but that's what I'm trying to say. Like baseball, a baseball from now until the year 3000, there's always room for a guy named Buck.
Yes.
And certain things will change, and you got to adapt. And maybe he's not, perfect for the future, but Buck will always matter in baseball.
Well, so like that was my biggest thing. Like I had 3 big takeaways from it, and it's 1, he's not going to be spineless like a jellyfish. Like I felt like Rojas was just saying, like, I'm happy to be here. I wasn't supposed to get this job.
Yep.
I'm going to get ran over.
Yep.
Number 2 is he said he's like spongeful, and like he said I'm not allowed to lose any games because of fucking analytics. Like if they give me information and I don't use it and we lose, like that's on me. So they made him, Billy Epler made them do breakout sessions with the analytics department and the scouting department to see how they'd work together before hiring anybody. So all 3 of those guys went through like little workshops where they were like, how are they going to work in tandem with the information we're giving them?
It worked.
What a novel idea to have them do a test drive like before they fucking get thrown into it. Like,
and listen,
Sheriff said he's the brightest baseball mind, bar none, that he's ever been around.
You think that Buck Showalter is going to have another moment where he doesn't use Zach Britton in the 9th inning?
Right.
It ain't happening. He learned his lesson, and you can point to it as a reason why we shouldn't, but I point to that as the reason why we should, because I think that's an old guy who was like, oh, fuck, you're right. Like, I played it old school, and it burned us. So I think we'll see him embrace it. And then on top, so then forget about all the other shit. Then we get to the real good stuff. He's got the gift of gab. He knows how to work the media. He's been in New York. He's going to be funny. He's going to inject humor. He's going to clown around. He's going to shake hands and kiss babies, and he's going to be Buck in baseball. And that is, I think, invaluable. He'll be a lightning rod to take on the media. He'll protect his players. I think he'll get some of these guys to fall in line. I don't think we'll hear about some of the drama. I'm very interested to see what happens with Jeff McNeil, because I think a guy like Buck Showalter is going to be like, hey, dude, I don't know if you noticed this, but you suck. So, like, either fucking, like, fall in line or get the fuck out of here. Because I think having that experience, you don't give a $275 million payroll to a rookie. You don't give your 16-year-old the keys to the fucking Ferrari. So we needed an adult in the room and a guy who knows what he's doing and a guy who's got the swagger to do it. It's Buck, baby.
And you said it perfectly. Having experience in New York, like that means fucking something. And like, everyone keeps saying like, oh, Rojas was like, he just got pushed up because the whole Beltran shit. He should have been like there after some seasoning with perfect manager. Well, that's not a perfect fucking world. Especially in Mets land, there's no such thing as a perfect world, right? But what do we always say about the managers? Like this day and age, especially, so much shit comes from up top. You got to manage the clubhouse. You got to manage the fans, right? And the media. Those are the 3 things you have to manage. And you wouldn't have Buck say something on the radio. What did he say last year, Kyle, that drove us fucking crazy? The
mental approach. He felt like they were nervous with runners and scoring.
Yeah, it's like, what are you doing? And then
he had some gaffes that were like unforgivable.
It was like I like Buck even in just this press conference. He's very blunt. He's very just like matter of fact. Yeah. Like, you ask me the question, this is what I think, and like I'm gonna go on a tangent because I'm excited about being here. But like at the end of the day, like I need to just come here and produce. Rojas was like, let me be buddy and not rub anybody the wrong way, and then let me say something completely fucked up that's going to piss
there's something, I don't blame Luis Rojas for being like, I don't want to say something or do something that ends my career as a manager, which maybe, unfortunately for him, maybe he did do that. But like you think about the future. You think about, well, maybe if it doesn't work with the Mets, I want to manage somewhere else, and I want to just be known as, I'm not going to blow things up, or I'm not going to be a problem. Buck Showalter has his career. He has, he wants his ring, obviously, but he doesn't need this the way like someone else does. So I think he's going to do his thing and it's not going to be politics. It's not going to be playing favorites. It's just going to be like, I'm here to do it. And like nothing else fucking matters.
Yeah. And for like what it's worth, you mentioned Scherzer wanted him.
Huge.
I wanted to say Scherzer so fucking bad, but I can't keep this going.
Scherzer wanted him. You can't bring in Max Scherzer on a 2-year deal, 3-year deal, and have it be like, you spend the first couple seasons complaining about a rookie manager. We got to get right to it. If that's what he wants, let's go.
No, and I think that mindset is the mindset the Mets should employ, is the mindset of let's fucking win now. We're not going to, like they always say, Buck rubs the young kids the wrong way. There's not going to be young kids on this team. We've talked about it. I think we talked about it with Joe DeMay when he came out. Like, I think we're going to go veterans for the next few years. They're going to do the Dodger approach. They got a bunch of veterans the first few years under the new ownership. And then once the fucking system with all the nerds, they started pumping in the young guys, and we're going to have a couple of young guys coming up. But it's like, this is going to be a win first now. You have a fucking older locker room. You have an older core right there, especially with Jake, Scherzer, Pete's even a little bit older for, a guy who's only played a few years, Lindor. It's like, get a guy that wants to fucking win. If Uncle Stevie likes him, who knows a thing or two about winning in life, fucking just hire him. And everyone using the Orioles years against him, the guy won with fucking a Peter Angelo's franchise. And that's like winning with a Wilpon in my mind. And they didn't win the World Series, and the Britain thing was bad. But after like those first few years, like then they just started tanking basically at that point, and that kind of fucks up Buck's record. So again,
yeah, but I don't think that I put that on Buck at all. I mean, and you know what? I think like, from what I feel like Lindor and Conforto were kind of, from what I heard, running the clubhouse in a way of like playing favorites and who do we like and who do we not like and who's clicking off. Conforto gone, right? I feel like if you have an issue with the media or the fans or the broadcast or this or that, but you don't have anybody else to like galvanize you or like, hey, yeah, right? Like, you agree with me, right? Like, you're on an island. And if you got guys like Max and Buck and everyone being like, hey, dude, we don't care about that, and you're like the only one causing drama, causing a problem, saying shit, you're going to fall in line when you don't have any backup. And I don't think there's anybody young enough to, there's all veterans who are not going to be persuaded by anybody. You have now like veteran presences on the bench and on the field that are going to be like, we don't deal with this bullshit. So I can't see anybody like the younger guys aren't going to like it. Who are we really talking about? There aren't anybody that really matters. And the one guy who I think does matter, who it might be a problem with, I think will fall in line faster, sooner rather than later, because
there's going to be no tunnel situation with Max Scherzer.
Exactly.
He's just going to fucking body bag him in front of the media, behind the media, in front of the players. It doesn't matter because he's just that crazy. And he's like, I'm on a 2-year contract. I have a closing window to get my money.
Yeah, let's no fucking around.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's what you need. That's why, like, I never thought we would get Scherzer, but like that's the whole thing he brings. Yes, he's an ace. Yes, he's going to perform on the field, but you need that. And Buck's the same way. You need the quiet guy who's going to sit in the back of the room, and like when they walk in, you sit up straight. You know what I mean? You just need somebody who's going to have that calming presence to make sure everybody's on the right path at all times.
Yep. And for Rojas, for like all the great things you heard about him, and that was the other thing. Oh, this team, everyone loves each other. All I'm hearing is everyone fucking hated each other last year, right? It was like there was like I think pockets, right, in the clubhouse where it's like, and I think that's probably a very common thing in baseball, especially you have guys who may not speak the same languages. You have just cliques that are fucking Barstool. We have everyone who works together kind of gets stuck in their clique, and if we all went out for a night out and drank, we could all hang out. But I feel like Buck has enough fucking years in the game to know how to work a locker room, to massage that shit, to get everyone on the same page. Because again, I feel like that locker room, we've talked about it a million times. We still haven't signed Ray Knight, Keith Hernandez, but at least I feel like we have a manager that can kind of act as some of that for us, which you need to have guys in the players to do that, but you also need to have a manager who can make it work. And I think bringing an outsider in who has no experience managing and has no experience with the fucking joys that is living the New York Mets or the New York media, like the guy's just fucking, he's perfect, man. Papa Clem approved. Papa Clem, who never says anything. He's like, they got my guy Buck. I like my guy Buck.
Yeah, it's something like old and young can get down with. I feel like Mets fans are happy with this, right? I feel like, yeah. And I saw, I got a couple people, what?
Like universally too, which is rare.
Yeah, but what was funny, I saw a couple people tweeting me being like, why are Mets fans excited about this? And I was like, what's not to like? He hasn't shown that he's like a truly old man washed up. We're not doing that. We're not signing like fucking Jack McKeon or some shit. He's not getting, guys out of the grave here. It was the easy choice in my book. Like, especially once you know that the main guy you went and got, that's going to hopefully be your piece to put you over the top. Now, it's like, you can't say Scherzer's the piece to put you over the top because they still have so much work to do. It's not like they, they didn't make the playoffs, but you hope that like that ends up being the NLCS MVP once we get there, and you got some work to do, and you got a couple trade deadlines and a couple off seasons hopefully to do it in. But you hope that it's almost like we got our final piece first in a way. Hopefully, God willing.
Well, when was the first time you looked at our manager and been like, he's a net positive? Like Willie Randall, like 2006.
Yeah.
Like,
Seriously.
That's why it's like such a difference. It's been so long. Terry Collins has the longest tenure as a Mets manager.
He was the worst. He was terrible.
Terry as a guy, but he wasn't a great manager.
Yeah, no. That's why this is just like, if you told me that, like, again, when we started the Cohen era, I was hoping for like we sign a Wall Street guy to be our manager, and we like changed the game forever, and Cohen like blazed a trail where it was like we changed baseball by using these different minds. That was kind of what I was hoping for. I don't even know if that's realistic, and it's not happening, but it's the opposite's happening. But I'm okay with that being like, as long as we're signing competent people, I'm okay with it being names that you're used to and guys that have been around for a long time for a reason, Yeah. And if you couple that, it's like now maybe with your bench manager, you go with someone who's a little more modern. And as long as the analytics team, which has quadrupled in size, has a lot of say, it's like, maybe we are modernizing, even if our manager is Buck Showalter, because everything else that supports him is, is frontward moving. So I feel like it's like, you need a blend, and that's exactly what Buck is. So I'm good with it all around.
Yeah, I'm definitely good with it. And I feel like especially guys that, don't have any experience. Listen, if you either work or are being interviewed by the A's or the Rays, I think you're awesome. It's like when the Spurs would make a trade with you and you're like, oh man, we got these. I don't even know who these guys are. I can't even pronounce their names, but we just got fucking fleeced. But the fact the A's hired Kotsay, I was like, all right, good. They didn't hire Espada, because it's kind of like with Heim. When Heim got hired by the Red Sox, I was like, I knew Heim was going to be good. I know he's going to be good. Because the Red Sox are smart enough to do that. It kind of brings that back with Buck. But like the thing is with these new managers, especially guys that don't have any experience and are from these like cooler, cutting edge franchises, it's the Peter Griffin thing. That could be anything. It could even be a boat. Buck is the boat. You know what Buck is. He fucking can float. He fucking can do shit with the fucking Yankees, with the Orioles. Uncle Stevie is going to fill in the blanks with him with his wallet. We already know that. We're going to blow past the luxury tax. All the different holes we have left to fill are going to be filled. And then it's like Buck's never, this might be the most Buck has to work with since, those early Yankee teams, even, I feel like those guys, like the core four was really young or not even up. And it's not like they were just, they weren't loaded with like high price free agents everywhere, right?
No,
like
when is
Yankees?
When is Buck Showalter has had the luxury of a 1-2 like Scherzer and DeGrom Scherzer?
That's the only thing he's probably had, right? Was Schilling there in 99?
Oh yeah.
Let me look it up. I got it right here. I'll pull it up. No. Oh wow, fucking blast from the past. This is he had the unit, obviously, Barry Johnson. Omar Dahl was the number 2. That is a name I have not heard in a very long time. Andy Benes, Armando Reynoso, Brian Anderson, and Todd Stottlemyre was the. So yeah, Schilling probably came there in 2001. Because I feel like they won the World Series right after he. Let's see.
That was the thing. It was like they were the difference makers. And
Schilling was there in 2000, but it looks like he might have.
Was
been,
Randy?
Randy was there too, but he might have. He fucking.
All right. Well, either way. That maybe that's the one thing he does have, but it's not even what's currently there. I think it's also like it's back to like the Steinbrenner type shit for him, where it's like hopefully. If he got to manage through that dynasty and then like in the 2000s, like Torrey did, where it was an open wallet, he would be the fucking legendary manager, So hopefully that this is his turn to do just that.
I don't want to sound like an old man, but I just enjoy just like baseball plays being done, like a hit and run or something, like just like I feel like we have a guy who actually knows how to manage a baseball game for what it is. And I'm sure everything's changed from when we were young and getting on base is the premium or hitting for home runs or
And I think like I don't know. I feel like Pete Alonso still needs to learn about like the off the field game of baseball, how to behave on the road, and what do you do when chicks are coming on to you, and how do you handle like fans at a bar, just like baseball guy things where it's like, here's what we did in the past. Here's how you do it now. There's a lot of youth on that team and not like youth that's like, they're not young men anymore, but they haven't had anybody to show them the way. Cause it's either been Will Pond or Callaway's or.
Yep.
This is the best of like we didn't get Wally Ball, which is what everyone had asked for Wally forever. But it's like he comes with that pedigree and like same mindset, but he's not a fucking wild card where you got.
It's like Wally Backman without getting Wally Backman. You know,
exactly.
I'll take Buck Ball. So, I mean, I think we're all in agreement. And now, so what's also going on right now? Like, are we reaching the point where like we're gonna miss games this season because they got to push back spring training and then push back the start and all that kind of shit?
There's no labor talks until after the new year. Like they just took like a break.
But that's what I mean is like, you know, January's pretty close to pitchers and catchers. So if they don't get it done quickly, then you got to push back those dates, which means you got to start pushing things back, right?
I think that they're going to push it through with that anyway. That's why all the players wanted to sign on early because now, like, the second that they get out of the lockout, it's going to be like an avalanche of everyone signing with everyone for like a week. It's going to be really exciting. It's actually probably going to be good for baseball.
But my question is, are they like on the verge of signing something and they just needed to pause or like?
No, they locked out to avoid, which doesn't make sense, but they locked out to avoid missing spring training. So like that was the mechanism that they like instituted because then they have to just sit down and negotiate. So hopefully January, like they just get it done. It is what it is. But I know that they're kind of far apart with like when Scherzer was introduced, he was saying that they have a war chest of money to like float to the lower end players to get them through if they need be. But he's just using that as a tactic to try to like get the owners on board sooner.
The owners must hate going. When you're trying to negotiate that you need more money, and then some guys over like, I don't. You might, broke boys. I don't need any more money. I'm good.
I'm going to say this one in the camera. This is what Uncle CV's saying to the owners right now. He's like, you guys wouldn't let anyone interview with me. And there was the fucking old Good Boy Network. Run and hide, assholes. Yep. Run and hide. It's fucking, we got Benedict right now with the owner. He got a fucking GM who can close the deal because he closed it with Scherzer that nobody saw coming. Yep. He got fucking Buck Showalter, who was an actual baseball man. I did not see the name Sandy Alderson in my timeline, so I'm guessing he was
Isn't that so fucking funny how that happens? As soon as shit happens, as soon as things get good, nobody mentions Sandy Alderson. He is the ultimate fucking scapegoat. He gets all of the blame, and I'm not even saying he deserves any of the credit either. He just is not as big of a factor as people seem to absolutely convince themselves when times are bad. So stop with the Sandy Alderson bullshit. Leave my guy alone. Let these guys do their thing and realize that Uncle Stevie doesn't lose, baby.
And this is the best point, boys. Hashtag Frank was wrong. He was wrong about Alderson as GM. He was wrong about Rojas as manager. He was wrong about Uncle Stevie's spending. He was wrong about everything. And the only people who's ever said he was right, 99% are basically trolls and Yankee fans. Yeah. So fuck you if you ever said that. And I wanted to ask this to you guys because Kev, you kind of brought it up a minute ago in terms of like coaches and shit. Is there anyone like in terms of like bench coach, hitting coach, the bases? Is there anyone you want in terms of, you know, ex-Mets coaches, players?
Is there anyone? What? I want, you know, it seems to be when you have a guy on your bench, a bench coach who can organize a cheating scandal ring, things work out pretty well. Yep. So let's go with that Alex Cora path and go bring back CB.
Beltran.
Él está aquí. I don't know. I'm so like, you know, I've said a million times before, and I'll say it again, that I don't think these positions matter all that much. So I don't know. I don't read into it the way some of these diehard fans do. I would just say, like, I would think if Buck is your guy who is old but bridges the gap to new, I would rather have a bench coach who is new and can bridge the gap to old a little bit. So someone a little younger, a little more modern to balance. It's like, you know, when you pick your vice president, you pick someone else, you pick who gets, you know, the other side of your votes.
Yep.
Dare I say DW?
Oh man.
It's like you're vice president at that point. You're just along for the ride. Like
the figurehead. Everybody always brings him up, and like
he needs to get experience at some point. He's in the office already, but he's got like a positionless job.
But don't you think like everything that we like about Buck? I don't think David Wright can you see David Wright getting ejected from a game, like, you know, arguing with a fucking umpire or putting a young star in his place? Or, I mean, I guess, you know, he threw out the lunch that one time. I think it would take a different side of David Wright, and maybe he has it, but I don't think we saw it as a player. I don't think I saw like manager shit from him as a player, but maybe that's because he was a player. But everybody seems to always want him, and he's so soft-spoken and so nice, and that can be a benefit, but I think also sometimes you need a little bit of Wally Backman, you know.
I'm telling you, David Wright will be the manager's team, and he's going to lead this team to a World Series one day. But I don't know if it's now. I think we've made it past those crazy stormy times where it's like this is going to happen. It's going to happen. It's like the 69 Mets into the 73 Mets. The 73 Mets, that will be when David Wright's time comes. We're on the 69 path right now, and I think we're going to be all right. I do think there is something about maybe. Like, do you want a Torrey and Don Zimmer, right? Two old dudes who kind of see the game, or do you want that next level analytical mind? That's actually a great point. I would love the reason I asked it because the one guy I was thinking of, other than Beltran, who would be cool just because he could cheat like a motherfucker and feel like he does have, he's on the cutting edge, baby. He's on shit that isn't not allowed, very much so. And I think Uncle Stevie probably appreciate. I know for a fact, Cohen. I was told people told me Cohen was not happy when the Wilpons just fired him the way they did. And can you imagine like Steve Cohen, like if he's one of his guys, you know, that's the thing. He rides for his guys. That whole SEC thing, that was one of his boys, right? And even the GameStop shit, that was one of his guys. He fucking rides for his guys. I actually love that about him, even if it's in some murky shit that, you know, might be a little against the law, against the rules. Beltran, I want Fonzie back. That whole thing ended weird with Brooklyn, and Edgardo Alfonso's maybe a top 3 favorite Met of mine. I fucking love the guy, so I think like kind of right the wrongs starts with him.
Managed to a championship at AAA, like he has like the managerial experience in the minors, right? So like,
he got fired after he won it.
Yeah.
Like, here's your trophy. We'll see you later.
Well, but you know what? Like, wouldn't you know? Again, if you're working for the Wilpons and shit, you can't ever.
It was a Brody firing too. He's like, oh, he's not part of our culture, and it's like, what fucking culture?
Yeah, he wins. Damn right, he's not Brody.
What a skid mark, shit stain, black mark on the fucking organization the Brody Van Wagenen years were. Ugh.
What do you think Buck Showalter thinks about Brody? If you gave him like truth serum, he'd be like, fucking agent pussy.
I think he would use a word that we can no longer use. I think he would have some old school choice words for Brody Van Wagenen and his like slick back hair and his $5,000 suits. Fuck off, dude.
Hitting coach, anybody that has a real name, not Hugh Quattlebaum, sign me up for. I love Hefner back. I think everyone wants Hefner back. And I don't know how Hefner doesn't come back. He made the bullpen not the scariest time of the night for Mets fans. Like, that was crazy.
Give me Hefner and the Vulture. Give me
the Vulture. Holy shit, I forgot about him.
Maybe he could be bench coach.
And I know this guy sucked. Like, just give me someone whose name I'm like, oh yeah, like I associate with baseball. Like, I didn't know the first thing about Gary DiSarcina, but when we hired him, I'm like, oh, Gary DiSarcina was made to be like one of your base coaches and shit like that. Chili Davis was like that with hitting coach. So just give me a random name and I mean, other than that, and the thing is, people are going to lose their minds over these hires. I think we're all pretty much on the same page. Like, I'm cool with whatever, unless I know the guy.
I'm with you. Get me a name. Go get me a name. What's Glenn Allen Hill doing?
Yes,
Give me a baseball guy.
Give me someone that's going to have them put the ball in play with runners in scoring position.
Yes.
I don't care who it is.
Honestly, like if these coaches even do anything, there's probably a good if they did research, there's probably like these guys have no effect on the game. Just hire Mets from my childhood that I liked. Lance Johnson. He was like, I love Lance Johnson. Like he's their base running coach.
TJ Payton. Yeah. You know what is funny? I guess I'm kind of hypocritical in the sense like I don't think who they are matter, but I'm pretty sure I saw a tweet a couple months ago, I think, that was like a screenshot of all of the coaches on the Braves. The Braves have like 40 coaches on their staff. They have like, 5 guys at the bullpen, a first base coach, a second base coach, a third base coach, a shortstop coach. Like they have a ton of minds in the mix. So it's like, I don't think they need to be big names. I don't think they have to be like special, but I do the same way I want a whole fucking team of analytics. I don't mind a whole team of people who can translate those analytics to, get to the players. So as long as the coaching staff on the whole is where it needs to be for a 2021 ball club, I'm cool with it. I don't give a fuck about the names.
Yep. Kyle, do you have anyone in particular along the, again, Fonzie was like the one guy I wrote down, him and Beltran, obviously.
Hitting coach wise or bench coach wise? I mean, I think Buck already
had Barry Bonds. Let's have him be our hitting coach.
Barry Bonds
he was the Marlins. He got railroaded again when he was with the Marlins. I mean,
the best fucking hitter of all time.
Stanton hit 60-something home runs when he was the hitting coach. It's like he understands the game. That's for damn sure. Like, why the fuck wouldn't you? I don't understand.
I'm not even kidding. I would love Barry Bonds on this team. So
Dante Bichette, throw Bichette in there.
Sure. Andres Galarraga.
Bring back Julio Franco.
Julio's got to be 100 by now.
He's like, I'm playing, guys. Sorry, I can't manage right now.
No, for real. He's still hitting right
He's
now.
in the independent leagues right now, right? Yeah.
Bring Vladdy in because he probably has like he has apparently another kid. He might have like 3 others all named Vladdy Guerrero that can smash, and maybe we'll get like an inside track on them. So
Things are looking up, boys.
it's
So
crazy.
everyone who jump ship, everyone who's fucking just swirling around the toilet bowl because you jump ship, toodaloo. We'll be up here rowing in the same direction with Buck Showalter, ready to believe.
God.